Okay, so here is a video on an example from chapter 11 on the internal control structure and the framework of like how companies should set it up. So we have division of duties is meant to provide the best possible controls for this small wholesale store. So we have 18 different duties. Let's see if I can scroll. We got 18 different duties. And then if we go down here, we have 3 employees. So we have Roberta Sanchez, James Cooper, and Mahoney Singh. All of the responsibilities with the dagger are assumed to take about the same amount of time and must be divided equally between Sanchez and Cooper. Both employees are equally competent. Singh, who's the president of the company, is not willing to perform any of the functions designated with the dagger and then will only perform a maximum of 2 other functions. So I guess let's start with her because that's the easiest. She's the owner, and as we had like in our chapter 10 scenario, it was an owner who relied on a CPA to do all kinds of stuff, and then that CPA ended up stealing cash. So if the owner could at least do number 15 and then number 18. So 15, we have reconcile the accounts receivable master file. Let's see if I can. No, okay. All right, hold on. I was going to see if I could highlight it. So if she could do 15, yeah, I can. Okay. So reconcile the accounts receivable master file, and then review any bills that are more than 90 days, because like that would have helped to have caught the guy in the last scenario. And then if she can also reconcile the bank account. So the owner should at least do those 2 top level things to kind of verify that nobody's stealing from her out of those 2 employees. Okay, then the other 2 we're going to try to split to say, okay, one of them is going to have custody of assets and the other one's going to be more in charge of actually recording those assets. So if we have approve, if we have here so number 1, approve credit for customers included in the customer credit master file. Then we have input shipping and billing information to all customers to record invoices in the sales journal and update that master file. So those 2 shouldn't be the same thing, same person. So let's say if we make one of them green. So if we have the person who approves the credit for the customer and creates that customer in the master file, they shouldn't then be inputting the billing and creating the invoices and updating that master file. So then that should be the other person. So we'll make that other person an orange color. Hopefully that's not too dark. Okay, so then those 2 things should be separated to be the different people. Okay, then if we have open the mail and prepare the pre-listing of cash receipts. So the person who's billing those customers should not be the one opening and creating and having the opening the mail and making that pre-listing of cash receipts again, because it would be easy for them to go back and delete an invoice and then pocket that check. So that should be a different person. Okay, then the same then going down to number 4, entering those cash receipts. So this person just touched the cash receipts. They shouldn't be the same person to enter it. So that should be the other person. And again, like whichever name, we're just going to segregate them just based on color. But they're equally competent, so either person could do either one of these jobs. Okay. Then number 5, prepare the daily cash deposits. So again, it shouldn't be the person who's opening the mail and preparing that pre-listing, because again, that would be touching the assets and recording the assets. So the same person who's entering those into the system should also be preparing that cash deposits. Then the person who opened them should now be the one taking them back to the bank. So again, the same person is touching, if this makes sense, the same person is touching those cash receipts. So they opened them, they prepared the listing, and they're taking them to the bank. But then the person who's doing the recording is the other person. So there's always that double check. Okay, then 7, assemble the payroll time cards and input data to payroll checks and update the payroll journal entry files. So again, that should be a person who's different than the person who signs it. But so let's make that person though, let's see. I guess it, I mean, we'll just, I don't know that at this point it matters. So this person, we'll go back to our orange. So the one person who is going to enter the payroll data and update the master journal is going to be a different person than the person who signs the checks. So then that person signing the check should be the other person. Okay, then assemble supporting documents for the general ledger and the payroll cash disbursements, and then signing again. So those should be different. So we're going to have the same. We're going to have the same green person. The green person is going to sign them, and then my orange person is going to be the one who prepares them. So again, we've got segregation of duties. So the person who's doing the documentation is not the person who's actually touching the checks or the cash. Okay, then we have input information to prepare the checks for signature, record the checks in the cash disbursements journal, and update the appropriate master files. So again, that should be the same person who is preparing all these supporting documentation. So that's our orange person. And then the green person, again, is going to be the one who's signing the checks. Then they, in turn, can also mail those checks because, again, they still have possession of the checks. So they can continue to touch them and then get them out in the mail. Then if the person who is canceling the supporting documentation should be, that's a good one. I guess, I don't know if that, if this is the person who's creating the documentation though, the other person then should probably be the one who would cancel it. So again, you've got that double check. Okay, then 14, update the general ledger at the end of the month. And review all the accounts for any unexpected balance. And again, like I feel like that one wouldn't be as important. Like, who are we? I think that we got to make them equal, I guess, is what I'm thinking. So I think that that is going to have to be my orange person. Is that true? Yeah, I think the orange person is going to have to be the one to make it just equal, because I don't know that that one really has a necessary checks or balances to that one. But that's true, though. The orange person is not the one who is actually putting anything into the system. So I think that actually would be a double check. Then they're looking at the stuff that got put into the general ledger by the person, the green person right now. That she did enter some cash receipts, though. Yeah, so I guess that's not completely true. Okay, let's keep going down. All right, so then we have these last two then that we have prepare monthly statements for the customers by printing accounts receivable master filing and then mailing the statements to the customers. So if we go back up and say, the person who is, I guess, doing most of the transactions. I think that the orange person has, she was preparing the accounts receivable. She was billing the people. So let's have the green guy be the one who actually prepares those monthly statements. But wait a minute, no, we can't do that because the green guy is the one who records the cash. So it has to be the orange person because they're not prepared. They're not the ones who are ever touching the cash. So they're going to prepare that and then mail it out to the statements, and that'll have to be the same for this because the person in green is also signing those checks. So the orange person should be the one who's double checking those things. I feel like that's not equally, exactly equally. They don't all have the exact same numbers. I don't think. I feel like my orange person has maybe one more, but at least that's a fair representation. Whoops, of how we are. Just pull that off the side of how we want to go through and kind of allocate the resources. I was struggling to get them completely even, and I don't know that they are, but at least we've gone through and kind of said, well, if this person's, performing this function, we need a double check. So it's ideally to say that the person who is recording the stuff into the ledger is not the one who's handling the assets, or setting up the new customers or employees or whatever. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. All right.